to say, we don't know things objectively. How could you ever conclude that and say you know it? You saw some instances, some evidence, and you said at the end of it you were like, oh wow, I've come to the conclusion, and I'm certain of it because of this evidence I've got, that you cannot know things for sure. You can never know for certain. What evidence did you look at? How do you come to that conclusion?
Anyway, yeah, the first thing that he's trying to answer is what can we know? And he's basically outlining that so that people can't say that we know things objectively when in fact we don't, because there are places where reason cannot go.
And how do you demonstrate the places reason cannot go? You can't demonstrate them, you just have to accept them on faith. You just accept that. Either you accept that or you don't.
And again, if you would actually read the book, again, Critique of Pure Reason, pick up your copy today, then you would see that that's what he's doing. He's not saying we don't know anything. He's saying, okay, well, a lot of people say that we can know this and this and this. Well, let's look at where reason can actually go before it starts running into problems. Once it starts...
Reason doesn't run into problems. So what would it mean to investigate the problems it runs into?
Running into problems, the antinomies, the contradictions.
There are no contradictions. The antinomies is verbiage.
Not even really a contradiction, but a place where it's possible to believe both one thing and its opposite.
It's not possible to rationally believe two opposite things from a given set of data. Not possible by definition of rationality. Rationality, by the way, I've given this definition elsewhere, and here it is again, and it's easily findable within any Aristotelian or objectivist source. Rationality is the faculty that integrates the information provided by man's senses. Man has 5 senses. They bring in information. Rationality is the faculty that integrates them, takes the information and does stuff with it, makes ideas, concepts. Rationality is the faculty of integrating information from reality. Now, how can rationality contradict itself? How can it lead to two opposite conclusions from a given set of data? And by his definition, by Zorio's definition, definitely it can contradict itself. But by an Aristotelian definition, it cannot. By definition, you can't have something that's rational that contradicts itself from another rational conclusion from the same set of data. Just, it's not possible. So, like I said earlier, we just disagree on that, and there's no way Zorio is going to push up daisies before he changes his mind about contradictions. He believes the universe is riddled in them. Rationality has to end in contradictions by necessity, and he knows this objectively to be true and real and actual.
Rationally. And both of them are rationally and logically sensible. They both make complete sense.
Now, don't you see the dancing hippopotamus thing? It's rational and logical to believe that rationality is limited and it has places it can't go. Dancing hippopotamus.
And yet it's possible for reason to hold both views, just not at the same time. Again, like freedom and determinism. That's where reason can't go. And that's just the reality of the human mind. It's not that we are limited in this, horrible way where there's some sort of, control over the mind. It's just there's certain places where, it's reasonable for a lot of things. And it's rational for a lot of things.
This simply means there's places where Immanuel Kant couldn't figure out the answer. That's all that means. He was baffled by it. So basically he sets down a bunch of sophistry and riddles for everybody, puts a mountain of complicated verbiage on top of them, and declares reason has been defeated because it always ends in contradictions. You have to have faith ultimately at the end of the day, and all of human knowledge is based on an act of faith. And this is all it is. This is all it comes down to. Okay, so on to his part 7.
Brandon, Mr. Cropper, I'm going to try to address your second and third videos in this one video, and I'm going to try to keep it as concise as possible. Basically what I want to talk about, well first, again, at the end of your series, you say that Kant has this, what you say is a communitarian view of truth and reality and things like that. And I just want to specify again that that is not the case. It's subjective in that so long as you are subjective, or so long as you are a subject, that is a rational being or a rational agent, then you will experience the world the same as other rational subjects or rational agents. This is what subjectivism means for Kant. It does not mean relativism, and it does not mean...
Now here's a problem in Kant's philosophy, an inconsistency. And after Immanuel Kant died and went away, it very quickly atrophied. It just withered and disappeared, this logical extension, because there's no necessity for it. If the other things Kant says is true, this doesn't even, it's superfluous and impossible to know about. And what that is he says that all rational agents will experience reality the same, because we all have the same categories and the same nature in our mind. Therefore, even though it is a delusion in a certain sense, even though this real reality that we know is actually a distortion of another reality, or it is not the real reality, there's another, however you want to put it, no matter how I put it, he'll object. Whatever you want to say about how our senses distort or create from the stuff coming into them, everybody else has the same senses and the same categories. So we can rely on some sort of objectivity in the sense that we're all trapped in the same system. But after Kant, people started looking at it and saying, how would you ever know that everybody else is in the same system as you? Is there a background reality you can check against? Because Kant says we're not connected to the reality. So it very quickly atrophied, and everybody then was in their own reality. So that is simply an inconsistency on Kant's part to say that there was some objective reality to which we can all refer as a society. And then it atrophied, and now it's on smaller and smaller groups. It's at the individual level, ultimately, but you can have little groups that have their own reality, like the black people or whoever have their own reality, and dead white European males have their own reality, whoever else. And each individual has their own reality. There's not an objective reality we can all refer to. Kant destroyed it, and then he said, by the way, there's an objective background reality that we can all refer to. I can't defend his inconsistencies. He simply destroyed objective reality. That's all there is to it. Even if he said he saved it, I don't care what gyrations he goes through. The fact is, he says we don't know reality, and we can't know reality, and we can never know reality, and it's impossible to know reality. It's beyond our grasp because our consciousness has a certain nature. That's what he says. All his verbiage to the contrary, supporting.
Is a rational being or a rational agent, then you will experience the world the same as other rational subjects or rational agents. This is what subjectivism means for Kant. It does not mean relativism, and it does not mean some sort of democratic truth.
Again, I don't care what it means for Kant. I don't care what it means for George or Plato or Mike or anybody else. What does it mean in reality to say that you can't know things, or you're cut off from reality, your senses distort reality, or what does that mean? Does it mean that there's a background reality we can refer to, or does it mean we're cut off from reality? So I don't care if Kant contradicted himself. We should have the word contradiction from now on, should be spelled with a K, in honor of the guy.
People vote on what the world is like. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. Moving on to the ethics. You present a very strange view of Kantian ethics that
He finds my view of Kantian ethics strange, that
I've never, ever come across.
Never come across.
And I kind of want to applaud you for that. But
he wants to applaud me for my originality.
I also kind of want to ask, what the hell?
Because I cite no authority, maybe. Is that his problem?
Because you say essentially that...
Or I only cite objectivist authorities, maybe. That's
Kant is the ultimate altruist, that you're supposed to sacrifice yourself completely and not for any reason at all other than for the sake of sacrificing yourself?
Right, out of a sense of duty for nothing.
This is the groundwork of the Metaphysics of Morals. This is the first work where Kant outlines his ethics before he gets into the critique of practical reason. And this is the categorical imperative in its original composition.